This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Game of the Week in the Fall League 1980-83. We got a game today between the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox. The American League is getting near the end of its schedule, and this has huge playoff ramifications. A best-of-5 series with a White Sox team that was tied for first and a last-place Twins team. Let's show you what's happened thus far. Game 1, the series opens in Minnesota. Lamar Hoyt, 24-game winner for the White Sox versus Jeff Zahn. And in this one, we get a run-scoring double play in the first inning by the Twins. In the third inning, you get a single, a double by Office and Urbic. Ground out by Bernansky. RBI double Roy Smalley, 3-zip. Chi Sox get an RBI single by Jim Morrison in the fourth. Fifth inning, solo homer, Roy Smalley. 4-1 game. The White Sox get a pair of doubles in the seventh by Rusty Kuntz and Rudy Law. Twins respond to the bottom half. It goes back and forth. Soderholm gets a solo shot in the eighth, but John Henry Johnson comes out of the Twin bullpen and gets the final six batters out with 3 strikeouts. A nice little save for John Henry Johnson and the upstart Minnesota Twins, wanting to play spoiler and ruin the White Sox season. Actually, looking at the roster composition, by one-loss record in this season, the White Sox were playing out of their minds over their head, and the Twins were dogging it with a tremendous amount of talent. And now we're sort of seeing the correction in this game, with the Twins winning 5-3. That puts a little damper on the White Sox playoff hopes. Let's see what happens in Game 2. They need a comeback. Do the Chi Sox? Do they get it? Game 2, Britt Burns versus Larry Sorensen for the Twins. And this one, again, the White Sox starter, like Hoyt, Burns, also struggles. Second inning, Kent Urbic dinger. And you get an Office walk, Smalley single, Hatcher single, Castino single, 4-0. Chi Sox get some runs in the fifth. Rudy Law singles, Lamar Johnson singles, Oscar Gamble 3-run homer, 4-3. But in the bottom of the inning, Britt Burns is sagging again. Hatcher walks, Castino doubles, Urbic and Bernansky singles. We are back to a 6-3 game, a 3-run lead. Then the White Sox, again, trying to come off the mat because they've been doing it all year. They get a Craig Reynolds, free agent shortstop, solo homer. A gift. Rudy Law reaches on a gift error, steals a base, ends up on third base on a bad throw, scores on a single. It's a 6-5 game. And then again, Britt Burns surrenders a run in the sixth, so he's gone. 6 innings, 11 hits, 7 runs for Britt Burns. Mike Proley and Hassler finish it. In the ninth inning, the Twins go to their closer, Doug Corbett, and it gets interesting. After an out, Chambliss singles, Essien walks. Then with the tying runs on base, Harold Baines doubles to center field. 1 run scores. Essien pumps the brakes at third. He's only an 11 runner against a -1 arm in center field, so they're going to put the brakes on as the tie run at third, the lead run at second on the road, and put the game in the hands of Jim Morrison and Craig Reynolds. But Corbett gets Morrison to fly out to shallow center field. No sac fly option. Craig Reynolds grounds out on his car to end the game. Another disappointing loss for the White Sox to the last place Twins in a best-of-5, winning the first 2 games at home in their stadium, playing spoiler. So let's take a look at the standings now, folks, and it's getting wild in the American League. In the American League, it's getting wild. Let's go up to the top first. The Yankees, Blue Jays, and Orioles are still alive. can only win the division. There's no way you can get a wild card in this. The Blue Jays have finished their run. They are hoping to win this division with a .500 record. Baltimore, their only path to winning the division is beating the Yankees 4 straight times. The Yankees need to get 2 victories. They win the division. Any other combination, Toronto wins the division. That's how that math breaks down. But what has happened in the Midwest? Oh my. The Brewers have returned to the top spot, just 3 over 500. Very contested here. And the Royals are done. Their season is done, and unfortunately, they're still a half game behind the Indians and the Angels. And it's up to the White Sox to try, and they need to win in the next 2 games. If they lose either game 3 or game 4 at home, the best they can do is a 1 game over 500, because the Twins would have won the series 3-1 or a 3-game sweep. So they need to win the next 2 games. If they win the next 2 games, they're in the playoffs at least. They'd be 16-13 at that time. If they lose the game 5, they'd be 16-14, but be tied with the Angels and Indians, and in a 3-way tie, Angels and White Sox go, Indians do not. And lastly, the other option, the White Sox would rip off 3 straight wins and go 17-13, and they win the division. And the Brewers would be the wild card. Indians would be eliminated. So the Indians are simply rooting for a Minnesota victory. They're in the playoffs. The Angels are in the playoffs as they win all the tiebreakers at 2 over 500. Nobody can get to 3 over 500. Again, in the East, just a reminder, in the East, you have a 500 team. They're under. So the Yankees' path is only winning the division, not as a wild card. It's all happening today in Chicago. A game 3. Must win this one and tomorrow at home in their own park. They're in the playoffs. Lose either one, they're done. Win a game 5 after winning the 2 games in Minnesota, they win the division. All possibilities for the White Sox. Today, from Comiskey, the Twins will send Jerry Koosman. Yes, folks, he was a Twin in 1980. 16-13 with a 4.04 ERA in 243 innings. And your White Sox, you know, most teams, when you get past your Lamar Hoyts and Britt Burns, you'd be nervous. Not this White Sox team, folks. They're sending Richard Dotson 240Z. Richard Dotson 280Z out there. 22-game winner in 1983 with a 3.23 ERA. Feeling very comfortable today in Chicago. Let's get started. Do the upstart kids have it in them? We're going to take a quick break and be right back after this moment. All right, let's get started. Leading off for the Twins is catcher, Butch Winnegar, 39 grounds to second. Roland Office, 37's a walk. Mickey Hatcher, 2-7 is a 5-4-3 double play. Bottom of the first, Rudy Law in the order, leading at the top of the order. 1-4, grounds to the pitcher. Lamar Johnson, 62, right X. In right field, you have Householder, 3E8 in right field, but he makes the grab. Eric Soderholm, batting third against lefties, 45, second X. You got Landestoy at 2E6 at second base for the Twins. He makes the play. Top of 2, it's Roy Smalley, 45 off Dotson, grounds out. Ken Urbick, 47, a strikeout. Tom Berdansky, 47, another strikeout. Nice start for Dotson. Bottom of 2, Chris Chambliss, having a great year. Nice free agent signee by the Chi Sox. 410, third X. Third baseman is Castino, a 1E22. Makes the play. Buck Martinez, 67's a K. And with 2 outs, Harold Baines, 59. Single 1-3 off Koosman, lines out. Go to the third. Paul Householder, 1-7, is a base hit. Castino, 1-4, is a sky to center. Landestoy, 49, flies to center, and with 2 outs, it's Butch Winninger. 1-6, triple 1-4, base hit. It is a base hit, ... on the corners with 2 outs for Roland Office. 68 is a walk. Bases loaded for Dotson. Must get out of the 3rd inning, unlike your last 2 starters who put the Chi Sox in a deficit. He's got to deal with .317 hitting Mickey Hatcher. Here's the pitch. 49, a fly ball to center field. He works himself out of that one. Bottom of the 3rd, it's Jim Morrison. 1-8, it's a fly ball to center. Stan Pappy, 59, is a walk. Rusty Kuntz, 6'10", center X. Out in center field, you have Office, a 2-4 in center. Very nice. Nice catch. And back up top to Rudy Law. 45 is a walk. 2 on, 2 outs for Lamar Johnson. 2-7's a base hit in the center field. Pappy. He's a 12, 13, 14. He's going to run on the Office arm. It's a 13, and he scores at a 6. Law ends up at third base on the throw. It is 1-0 White Sox. On the corners for Eric Soderholm. 2-2, strikeout, and also an injury to Soderholm, taking him out of the game. Oh, boy. This team has terrible defense, particularly in the infield. Morrison's a 4-30 at second. You had Soderholm a 4-23 at third. You have Craig Reynolds on this club, who is a 4-22 at short, but we're going to go with Jim Essien. He's a catcher, but he can play third base as a 4-37. He'll go take over for Soderholm in that spot, and we'll leave old Stan Pappy at shortstop, the only halfway decent, as we say, defender in the White Sox infield. 1-0. Top of the 4th. It'll be Roy Smalley. 1-6 for Smalley is single 1-14. Cannot convert on a 16. Kent Urbick, 66. This is double 1-2, base hit. Tom Bernansky, 211. It's a 5-4-3 double play. Turned by Jim Essien, folks. There you go. The beauty of Strat-O-Matic. 1-0, bottom of the 4th. It'll be Chris Chambliss, 67. He is in a slump in this series. He's been carrying this team, having had a great year. Hopefully we can check out his stats at the end of the video. But he's really been a fantastic free agent for this team until Greg Walker will show up next year. But he slumped terribly in this series as they've lost the first 2 games. Buck Martinez, 2-9, third. And Harold Baines, 2-7, base hit. Jim Morrison, 35 is a K. Go to the 5th, 1-0 in Comiskey. The fans are nervous. They have a lead, but they know the stakes. It's a nerve-wracking on that. No more fingernails. They're all bitten off here in Comiskey. Paul Householder, 410, center X. Oh, boy. It's hit out to Rudy Law in center field. He's hovering. No, actually, I'm sorry. It's Rusty Kuntz in center. What am I talking about? He's accomplished. He's a 3-5 in center. 3, and he makes the grab. Rudy Law's in left field. That's the danger spot. John Castino, 39. Flies to left. And Landestoy. 35K. 5 innings for Dotson. He's given up 3 singles, couple walks, and his defense has not imploded around him. At least not yet. It's 1-0. Still work to do for these Chi Sox. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right, it'll be Stan Pappy leading off. 47 off Kuzman is double 1-10. It's a 2-base hit. Now you got Rusty Kuntz. 35 is a walk. 2 on for Rudy Law in the order. 6-12, pitcher B. Well, you've put speed on the bases now. You've got runners on the corners. Pappy at third. Rudy Law's a double-A stealer. You're going to be holding. You may as well be up and holding. For the White Sox, you don't want to run out of this inning. So you're content to let Lamar Johnson swing away without attempting a stolen base. 46 off Kuzman, a single, 1 of 14. He converts on a 3. And the White Sox, they have a 2-0 lead. Law has to stay at second on the play. First and second, 1 out. And now you've got Jim Essian in the 3 spot. 67 off Kuzman is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Chris Chambliss. 57 other K. Well, it's 2-0 game. Could have been a lot more. White Sox may regret not picking up some extra runners in those innings. Extra runs, at least. 2-0 game. They're on the broad shoulders of Richard Dotson. Can he convert this complete game, perhaps? And 2-0, 2-1 victory, maybe. We'll see. It's back up top to Butch Winnegar. 1-8's a walk. Roland Office. 6-12. Left C. Mickey Hatcher. 2-3. Lines a second. And with 2 outs, it's Roy Schmale. 37 is going to be a base hit to left field. 2 on, 2 outs. I haven't shown any cards yet. Let's show you one, folks. Batting 5th here, Kent Urbick. Let's show you Urbick's 82 card. 301. 23 dingers, 54 walks. Pretty slick fielding first baseman. No problem whatsoever with left-handed pitching, by the way. Would never be a problem for him in his career. First and second, 2 outs. And here is the pitch to Kent Urbick. 3-11 is a walk. Oh boy, he pitched out of this mess once before. I'll have to do it again, and it'll be Tom Bernansky. Let's show you more Twins. I'm telling you, this Twin is a team is very talented. Bernansky, also an 82. He was their 3rd best hitter between Hatcher and Urbick. Bernansky had 20 home runs, 71 walks, and a 272 average. Eventually ends up with the St. Louis Cardinals, but here he's still with Minnesota. Big moment for Richard Dotson and the Chi Sox trying to come back in this series. The pitch to Tom Bernansky. 1-7 Bernansky on his card, double 1 to 6 is single dot and the tie. The game is tied. Oh my. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. We're going to hang with Dotson. He is a starter 7. We'll face Paul Householder. 57's a walk. This is the one big problem with Dotson is walks. The big difference between him and Lamar Hoyt. Lamar Hoyt was a control specialist. Hoyt walked 106 men in 240 innings. Didn't give a lot of hits, though. Won a bunch of games. Bases have been reloaded. But you got right-handed batter, John Castino. Let's take a look at John. Now, he does hit .302, but most of it's against lefties. And he's pretty ordinary against righties. And you got to lean on Dotson here. He is a horse. He's a 22-game winner. They're going to lean on him to get Castino out with the bases loaded and keep the game tied. Here's the pitch. John Castino. 57, then another ball 4. And what did I say? Ouch. It comes back to get him. And I know what you're thinking, but you got to look at the next dude. The next dude is Rafael Landeskog. He can't hit lefties at all. He's a 247 hitter. Did that with the Astros in 1980. Barely hits above the Mendoza line against righties. So this will be the last batter for Dotson. As we're just rolling with Dotson. He's a 22-game winner. We like the guy. Just stop walking marginal players. Here's the pitch to Rafael Landeskog. And the third straight 5-7 on the Richard Dotson card. Colossal failure at the worst possible time. And the manager comes to the mound and boo, they boo. They should have hooked him long ago and blah. Yeah. Whatever. Dotson's gone after 5 2/3. He was throwing a shutout, but he completely came unglued, Steve Blass-like, Rick Ankiel-like in the in the 6th inning. And now the bases are still loaded. It's just a 2-run game. You gotta get Butch Winnegar out. And so you have switch hitter, lefty, and righty and lefty. I'm gonna go with Jim Wright out of the White Sox bullpen. Jim in 81 was a Kansas City Royal. 2-3, 3.46 ERA in 52 innings. He is really good as a righty who gets lefties out. So switch hitters, he loves switch hitters, and Winiger is one of them. And he desperately needs the 10th batter of the inning. Jim Wright needs to get this guy, Butch Winiger, out with the bases loaded. The pitch to Butch Winiger. 55 is short X, and it's going to come down to this porous White Sox defense. Well, it's the best defender in their infield. It's Stan Pappy. He's a 3E10 at short. 3E10. And he makes the play. And they breathe a sigh of relief. We still have the White Sox in this thing. 4-2. As things slow down dramatically in this inning. Koosman has a 2-run lead. Bottom of the 6th. He will face Buck Martinez. 64, third X, but you got Castino, 1E22 at third base. He makes the play. Harold Baines, no problem with lefties. 2-7, another base hit for Harold. He's having a nice series. Jim Morrison, the tie run. Dun, 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 dun. Second X, now it's Landestoy at 2E6 at second base. It's a 4-6-3 double play. Folks, you're seeing the talent gap. It really leans to the Twins. The 83 White Sox, they're not all here yet, folks. They're just getting this thing together. It's the first year, the 4th year out of the line. There's no Carlton Fisk here. There's no Julio Cruz. There's no Tom Paciorek. Most of the pitching is here. They could probably use another. They don't have Floyd Bannister here yet. I mean, they're just not all here yet. So you're still seeing this very bumpy ride by the White Sox, who, frankly, were horrible in 1980. Trying to sugarcoat this a little bit, folks. It's a 4-2 game. The Twins are on the verge of a sweep as we go to the top of the 7th. And leading off will be Roland Office. 55, short X again. And Pappy again is a 3E10. Makes another play. Mickey Hatcher. 55 is a base hit. I got Roy Smalley, another switch hitter. 43, left X. Oh boy. Rudy Law's a 3E13 in left. And he makes a 2-base error. Oh boy. It's second and third, 1 out. They're going to bring the infield up for another lefty for Jim Wright. It'll be Ken Urbick. 3-6 is Wright B question mark for running Hatcher. But Baines has a strong arm. Hatcher's a 12, 13-14. Baines is a -3? No, it's -2. So he'll run on a 12 to pad the lead. And he scores on a 9. Mickey Hatcher chugging down the third base line. Head first slide. He pumps his fist. He beats the Baines throw. We got a 5-2 game. That error really hurt. 2 outs, runner at second for Tom Bernansky. And before he steps in, we're going to pull Wright. Not very good against pure right-handed hitters. They're going to go Mike Proley out of the White Sox pen. Proley would play for both of the White Sox teams. In 1980, as a member of the White Sox, he was 5-10 with 3.06 ERA, 147 innings, good against righties, particularly. Mike Proley coming to rescue here in the 7th, we hope, to face Tom Bernansky. TB12, 65. Oh, and he smacked right dab in the middle of the Proley column there. Triple on a 13 double. That ricochets in the outfield of Comiskey Park. It's stuck in a disco album. And then is returned to the infield as a triple, scoring Smalley. It is 6-2. Paul Householder. 48 is a liner to second base. It is now a 6-2 game for the Twins, who, you know, they didn't want to be in last place. They've been embarrassed this year, and they're taking it out on the White Sox. Clearly, stretch time here in Chicago. We are enjoying the Baby Huey story, living legend, Baby Huey. This fantastic double CD set. Find it on 16 tracks on this thing. And yeah, great music by Baby Huey. Curtum record label. Discovered by Curtis Mayfield of the Impressions. back to the game in the bottom of the 7th inning. Kuzman still in there as a starter 7. The Twins cannot improve upon their defense in an attempt to get the final 9 outs. They'll stick with what they have. White Sox actually are much better against righties than lefties, so that is also hindering their efforts. Stan Pappy will lead off. 47. Double 1 to 10 off the Kuzman card. It's a base hit. That's a good start. Now you got Rusty Kuntz. 2-6 is a base hit to right field. You got two men on with no one out. And you got Rudy Law. Let's take a look at Rudy Law. Don't look at that top line in the middle. That's where the defense is. Yeah, you don't want to... Yeah. This guy has trouble with fungos, folks. Yeah, they go all over the place. He actually would improve his defense in a few years to a 2, which is incredible. But in 82, he hit .318. Really had his best year. He was also good in 83, the year they won the division. But nice 82 Rudy Law card. Discarded by the Dodgers. First and second. Here's the pitch to Rudy Law. 47 off Kuzman's a base hit to left field. He's just going to load them up. Bases are loaded, and you got some sluggers coming up. You got Lamar Johnson. Well, he's not a slugger. Well, you got Jim Essien. He's not a slugger either. Well, Soderholm used to be in there, and he's not anymore. Then you got Chambliss, who's a slugger with 20 dingers. Buck Martinez occasionally can be a slugger. And then, of course, Harold Bain. Okay, they don't have any sluggers coming up. But you get the idea. The bases are loaded. With nobody out, Kuzman and the Twins, they're going to play it back. And also, there's going to be a mound visit as we reassess this situation. I will say this. Essien is much better against righties than lefties. And Chambliss is also a lefty. So 2 of the next 3, you'd prefer a lefty. Then you got Baines, and you don't really care too much about Buck Martinez. If you go to a righty, the first, basically everybody's good except for Martinez. We got 9 outs to get still. Kuzman has hit the point of weakness. So let's just pull Kuzman. Remember, he's got to be about 40 years old around now. So we're going to pull Kuzman so he can't lose. 6 innings, 3 batters responsible. And it's a question of, you don't want a pitcher who walks guys. I think I'm going to go back-to-back with a lefty. I seldom do this, but I'm going to do it here. We're just going to go to John Henry Johnson. Let's take a look at John Henry. He was a Texas Ranger in 1980. Was also a member of the Red Sox for a bit. 2-2, 2.31 ERA in 39 innings in 1980. A lefty following a lefty, but he's better, and he's not at the point of weakness. Because we believe the White Sox are much better against righties. Plus, it keeps Oscar Gamble on the bench. You don't want him in the batter's box with runners on. So, yeah. John Henry Johnson will come on in the 7th. Bases loaded, nobody out. He will face Lamar Johnson with the infield back looking for a double play. And here is the pitch. 34, just misses a double. And it is a pitcher A. On the Lamar Johnson card, he's got the 3-5 to 9 column, and he rolls a 3-4. Oh, boy. Well, you got a run. You got a runner on third, and you don't have the tie run up. No RBI given. It's a nice day in Chicago otherwise. And you got Jim Essien. Here's the pitch to Jim. 110 is a slow roller to the mound. It's all turned up Twins today, folks. As Henry Johnson pitches out of the bases loaded, no one out with a double play and a comebacker to the mound. And it's 6-3. Top of the 8th. Proley will face Castino, and we'll see what happens after that. 6-10. Third X. This is Essien, a 4.37 third baseman, makes the play. How about Jim Essien throwing the leather around, folks? He turned a double play here, and he gets a ground ball on his defense. Gobbled up. Landestoy. 48 off Proley lines the second, and with 2 outs up top to Winiger. And they're going to go back to a lefty. As these guys don't hit lefties very well. They have Andy Hassler. So Proley goes an inning. 7 2/3. So Hassler comes on in the 8th. Andy Hassler had a fine 1980. for the Angels after an injury-marred career. He was 5-1 with a 2.49 ERA in 83 innings. He'll face at least Winnegar in office. Let's see what happens after that. Butch Winnegar. 2-8 is a grounder to short. All right. Bottom of the 8th inning. John Henry Johnson, with his magic wand, will stick around and face Chris Chambliss. 111 is a K. It's Buck Martinez. 1-6 is a fly ball left. And Harold Baines. Let's take a look at Harold. This could be his last at-bat of the season for him. 82, Harold Baines. 25 homers, a 271 average. His monster year is actually 84, not 83. 84 White Sox had Walker and Baines really crushing the ball. He was good in 83 as well, but 84 he had his best year, I believe. Still, this card of 82, 25 dingers, 271, 2 in right field. Here's the pitch. Harold Baines. 48 off of JHJ walks. Now you got Jim Morrison. Dun, 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 dun. 34 rolls to third. We go to the 9th. Hassler will continue. It's Roland Office. 55 short X. Stan Papia 3E10 at short makes the play. You know, the Crosstown Cubs were watching on TV to see if they made the playoffs, and they did. Meanwhile, the Indians were watching on TV to see if they go to the playoffs, watching a team from Chicago. So there's some payback here. As one of the Chicago teams looks in great shape, and the other team looks disappointing here. Mickey Hatcher, 110's a base hit. I got Roy Smalley. 311, left B plus injury. So that's weird. You get an injury to your shortstop. Pete McCannon will take over at shortstop in the bottom half of the inning. And with 2 outs, it's Ken Urbick. 1-9, another base hit. And now you got Bernanke with 2-1 and 2 outs in a 3-run game. I think you're going to pull Hassler. They're pulling teeth just to get out of these innings. Absolutely cannot afford any more bleeding here. With 6 runs in the last 3 2/3. Dennis Lamp will come out of the White Sox bullpen. He also played for both Chicago teams like Broly. He was a starter for the Cubs. Then he was a reliever for the White Sox. He was a starter 8, relief 4 here. Brilliant year. And the strike year of 81, a 2.41 ERA in 127 innings. Almost should put him on rotation. Real close. He would have been, if he played a full season, he would have been real close to 200 innings. But Lamp's in the bullpen here to try and get the final out. Tom Bernanke, 2 on, 2 outs. And here's the pitch to Tom. 310 is a fly ball left field, and the White Sox are still alive in the bottom of the 9th. And here we go, buckle up, folks. It's a 6-3 game, and this is the last hurrah. You know what? The fans are on their feet here because this team was not expected to do anything but finish in last place this year. And they've flirted heavily. They pulled upsets over the Brewers and the Royals. They can claim credit for knocking the Kansas City Royals and the .390 bat of George Brett out of the playoffs altogether. So that's what the White Sox probably deserve credit for versus what's happening today. 6-3 in the 9th. And now we'll get some pinch hitters and new pitchers. Doug Corbett, the Twin closer, will come in. 8-6, $1.99 ERA, 136 innings in 1980. I'm telling you, folks, they just outmatch player by player the White Sox do these Twins. And frankly, it's not going to salvage the Twins season. They're still not going to get back to 500. But so leading off in the bottom of the 9th, we're going to have some pinch hitters here. We only have 2 because of the injury. So we'll lead this thing off with... let's see who it's in a fewer double plays. That in a second. Oh, we'll just start the inning with Oscar Gamble. Let's take a look at him. Oscar Gamble will lead off in the bottom of the 9th inning. 1980 Yankee, 14 dingers, 278 average, and 200 at-bats. Has had a great year with the White Sox. Fans love him. We overstayed his tenure here in Chicago. Here's the pitch to Oscar Gamble. 46 off Corbett's a base hit. Now, batting for number 9 hitter Kuntz will be Craig Reynolds. Here's the pitch to Craig. 212 is a fielder's choice. Back up top to Rudy Law. 1-9's a base hit. You got 2 men on again. And your tie run will come to the plate. That's all you want. It's Lamar Johnson. Let's take a look at his card. Lamar Johnson in 1981 was a 276 hitter with a homer. They gave him power with a homer. A homer 1 double on his card. And Corbett, he also has homer 1 double on his card. So the 3-run homer is not looking very smart right here, but here we go. Let's see what happens. 2 on, 1 out. Here's the pitch to Lamar Johnson. 2-9. Oh, he avoids the double play. Right between a pair of double play rolls is a line out to third, which puts the game squarely in the hands of overachieving Jim Essien. Let's take a look at Jim. What a great year he had in 1981. He gets 308. 308, loaded against righties, not against lefties. A catcher, as you can see, can play third base. Real nice card for Jim Essien. We'll take a walk. Put the game in the hands of Chambliss or Baines. Here's the pitch to Jim Essien. 69 off of Corbett is a fly ball to shallow center field. And that will do the trick. And that, folks, is the Minnesota Twins with a 3-game sweep of the White Sox, knocking them out of the playoffs. That is a sad state of affairs here in Comiskey. But they'll be back. They gave you a hint of what is to come in the next few years in Chicago. Corbett gets the save. They give up two hits. John Henry Johnson got that fancy double play, fielder's choice, a walk and a K. Everything else was Kuzman. Collected a victory. Gave up 8 hits and 3 runs. They're all earned. Did walk 3, struck out 6. Lamp got the final out. Prior to that, Hassler faced Winiger. Gave up 2 singles, neither scored. Prior to that, Proley pitched an inning. And he faced, who did he face? TB. Oh, yeah, he faced Bernansky. Oh, he gave up the triple to Bernansky. Ugh. So he gave up a hit. And Jim Wright, unfortunately, gets charged for these runs. He started the inning, so he got the first 2 outs. So he gives up 1 hit and 2 unearned runs. That's not fair. Really, the guys who came in after Dotson didn't do that bad. They gave up 4 hits and 2 unearned runs. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. It was the Richard Dotson struggles combined with the Lamar Hoyt and Britt Burns struggles. And the Minnesota Twins have a lot to say about that. Dotson, 5 hits, 4 runs, all in the 6th, an ugly 6th inning. Maybe we could have stayed with Dotson, as he didn't hit the point of weakness to avoid the additional runs, I suppose, but he still didn't outscore Kuzman and company. That is indeed 7 walks and 3 strikeouts. 1019, 0109, 69310, 69310, 7347, 4773. Wow. We'll look at the stats of some of these players, set up the playoff field. Well, can't really do that until the Yankees and Orioles play, but we can do most of it. The Twins will conclude this campaign 12-17. Hard to believe. After the way they've just played in this series, they're 12-17. And the White Sox, well, they conclude this mess 500. Probably in the right where they should have been all along. They had a hot streak in the middle there, faded at the very end. White Sox finished at 500, 14-14. They hit 278. ERA 4.13. Could be a little better than that. Starting pitching, Hoyt was 4-2. Baumgarten was 0-3 as the 4-starter. The power didn't translate. Eric Soderholm, who got injured in the game we just saw, he had about 280 with 20 RBI in 28 games. 278, steady team. Now let's look at the Twins, 12-17. They hit 274 but they had a 5.61 ERA, and that is something that White Sox could not take advantage of. Again, the White Sox aren't particularly good against lefties, this lineup, and they had to face Jeff Zahn and Jerry Koosman. By the way, Jerry Koosman did go 5-1 for these Twins. So everybody else went 7-16. That includes Jeff Zahn, who finishes the campaign 1-8. And yet, that one win, he beat the White Sox in Game 1. Staggering failure by the White Sox to miss. He could have been 0-9 if the White Sox would have done that. He also gave up 42 runs in 55 innings. That's a 687 earned run average. Just a disaster for Zahn. You got Urbic with 5 homer, 21 RBI in 29 games. Berdansky 6-20. Castino actually had 37 hits. And when we look at the overall standings now, we got to move the Chi Sox down one more peg, as the Royals will pass them for second place in the Consolation Derby. No, there's no such thing as the Consolation Derby. I just made that up, but you get the idea. Yeah. A little disappointing to see a team in the playoffs get knocked out of the playoffs. And there is the present standing. So your Brewers, it looks like Ohio and Oakland are safe there. The Brewers are sitting at 3 over 500. Somebody has to win the East. Could be the Yankees. The Yankees could move up to a 3 seed. Otherwise, they're a 4 seed. The wild cards, yeah, they are locked in. It is the Indians and the Angels, because there cannot be a wild card at 2 games or more over 500. And to emphasize that, only the Yankees are 2 over 500. So they're either winning this division or they're out completely, which means Toronto would be at 500, or the Orioles would be a half game over 500 winning the division. But nobody gets nobody gets 2 over 500 here, except the Yankees. So the Angels, the Indians would, at this present time, be facing the Brewers, and the Angels would be facing the Yankees if it were to end today. But we still have one more series to play. Anyway, that's the wrap. Sadly, break up the Minnesota Twins for ruining the season of the Chicago White Sox with a devastating 3-game sweep. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.